So please give another welcome to Richard Antoine.
The joys of being 6'5". I'll be reading my speech and talking to you from the music stand, which is right at home for me. It's always a pleasure. I've been all over the world recently, and it's a joy. But I gotta tell you, it's nice to do one of these in your home state, so I get to stand up here and say, it sure is good to be home. So, hello, my name is Dr. Richard Antoine White. Wow, after 9 years, it still feels a tad bit odd putting DR in front of my name. But seeing that I'm the first African American in the world to get a doctorate of music in Tuba, I'm guessing it's okay. My initials spell RAW, R-A-W, and I happen to play tuba. So my internet alter ego is Raw Tuba. So Google away if you desire. My, how times have changed. I'll be reading my speech from an iPad and not notebook paper. Oh, for the next 60 minutes or so, I'm supposed to tell you something memorable, profound, life-related, and useful that you will remember for the rest of your life. Well, I've decided to simply tell you the truth, so buckle up. And don't worry, I will only use 50% of the suggested time. You're welcome. My story, born premature homeless on the streets of Baltimore, weighing just over 1 pound, is how my life began. While growing up on the streets, I ate out of trash cans and would often store food under my tongue because it was so unpredictable as to where my next meal would come from. I found old discarded shoes in dumpsters, which I stuffed with newspapers to fill holes and make them into a size that would fit at age 3. Would I change any of this? The answer is no. It was the hand I was dealt, and I played it to the best of my ability. You see, regardless of one's upbringing, financial status, accomplishments, advantages, or disadvantages, I believe that life is fair because it's unfair to everyone. The most amazing phenomenon about life is that we all start living and dying the instant we are born. You can't have one without the other. I guess the most important thing is to offer the world your very best. Here today and gone tomorrow, you want to be able to say one thing was for sure. I was definitely the best at being me, and there will never be anyone exactly like me. In other words, living stops, but dead or alive, life continues. Just make sure that while you are living, you give the world your very best, and you will be remembered for the life that you created. Even though living can come to an end, I think Sir Winston Churchill put it best. And I think it's important to think about this quote in the context of what you're doing here today with FebFest and what this community and church means to surrounding areas in this community. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. So give the world your best, and immortality will be yours, making the world a better place for all. Sometimes in life, we all need to make the decision to be our own hero. Steve Jobs, the famous Apple founder, put it this way: your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others drown out your own opinions or inner voice. And most importantly, have the courage to follow your own heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. Yogi Berra once said, you have to give 100% in the first half of the game. If that isn't enough, in the second half, you have to give what's left. Just what if we all learn to make a difference by giving 100% all of the time, only to discover that there's more we can do when passion, caring, kindness, and understanding are involved. 100% effort is simply the price of admission. The point here is that every second, every minute, and every day counts. Effort is never worth 0 points, and how big a difference we each make is between you and you. The time to make a difference is now. Procrastination is the arrogant assumption that God or the universe owes you another opportunity to do what you already had time to do. Too often we hear, because of this, because of that, I can't do that, because of resources, because of lack of personnel. I'm encouraging everyone here today to think, in spite of the lack of resources, in spite of the lack of time, in spite of the lack of personnel, I will just show you that I can do it simply because I can. Never forget the word try. Martina Navratilova a Hall of Fame tennis superstar, was once asked, how do you maintain your focus, physique, and sharp game at the age of 43? She gave a humble reply. The ball doesn't know how old I am. You need to stop yourself from stopping yourself. Never let anyone tell you you can't, including yourself. Every game in life is actually played on a 6-inch ground, the space between your left ear and your right ear. We don't live in bungalows, duplexes, or flats. We live in our mind, which is an unlimited area. Life is great when things are sorted and uncluttered within the mind and filled with positivity. Keeping the mind messy with hatred growing on the table, regrets piling in the corner, expectations boiling in the kitchen, secrets stuffed under the carpet, and worries littered everywhere will ruin this ideal home. The key factor to performing well in life and in every arena is the ability to control the quality and quantity of your internal dialogue. Performance is potential minus internal interference. Live in peace, not in pieces. Decide your purpose and be gangster about the annihilation of any roadblocks. My advice, instead of a to-do list, how about we all create an I want to be list, paying it forward with kindness and goodness. I've always believed that to be happy in life, you need 3 things. Number 1, someone or something to love. Friends, family, significant other. Number 2, something to do, job, school, or attending events like today, in order to take care of those things listed in number 1. Number 3, something to look forward to, the dreams, or in this case, the bright future of individuals all over who will benefit from the love and labors and caring provided by such events as FebFest. Our world and country is in an historical time where change and reevaluation of the American dream is so desperately needed. Bear with me for a moment, or should I say participate. In a moment, I'm gonna ask you to participate, so don't be shy, because I got a little preview of how well you can participate. So, the impossible is always possible. We each have the power to change the word impossible to I am possible. I would like to echo the power of choice, chance, and change. We must always preserve the right for our youth to have access to the ability to have a chance to make a difference by making the right choice toward betterment and change. I believe this happens through the word together. I break that word down and it translates to get her. And for me, to get her is Lady Liberty. And what Lady Liberty translates to me is choice, chance, and change. What we really want in life is just a chance to make the right choices, to see the kind of change that's for the betterment of all. Sit up, take a deep breath. Now remember, I'm a tuba player, so I take this stuff seriously. Okay? And I want you to look to the person to your right. If you're looking to the right and there's not a person, you're welcome to look the other way. Okay? And on the count of 3, don't say anything until after I say 3. I need everyone to say, I can change. 1, 2, 3. I can change. Now look to the opposite side. If there's no one there, same instructions, look the other way. And on the count of 3, I need everyone to say, we can change. 1, 2, 3. We can change. My challenge to each of you today is to present change to the world by offering it your absolute best. You can change. I can change. We can change. We shall change. We must change. We have to change. Together we will change, because the best is our only option, and we must prepare our collective minds to lead the way.
Hear, hear.
Simply by changing the view, everything and everyone can become an asset, even if it appears to be far-fetched or daunting. If you look at things the right way, everything is of value. For example, in the words of Bill Gates, I will always choose a lazy person to do a difficult job, because he or she will always find the easiest way to do it. There's perspective for you. Everybody can be an MVP, most valuable person. I think the gist of what Bill Gates is saying is, know the difference between a person being deficient versus a person that's never been taught. Once you've been taught, always remember, Great people aren't born great, they grow great. In other words, you don't have to be great to start, but you have to start in order to be great. When asked by a CBS Evening News reporter, Richard, after playing all over the world, making history, recording, what do you think your greatest accomplishment is? I paused. I'd never been asked this question. I thought about it for a minute, and I weepingly replied, my job as a teacher and mentor, because every day I get to go to work and make a difference in a kid's life, because that's what someone did for me. It's up to each of us to cultivate and nurture our youth. There seems to be an abundance of definition as to how we define the word hope. I believe the following. H is for hold on. Never give up. There's always hope, as demonstrated by this organization's resilience. O is for opportunist. Be an opportunist. Take your shots, regardless of how many times you miss. Keep swinging. In the words of the late notorious Ruth Bader Ginsburg, fight for the things you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. And that's exactly what this organization continues to do each year and will continue to do with everyone working together. P is for persistence. Be a nag. I promise you, determination is indeed your best friend. Together we can accomplish many things if we are persistent. E is for excellence. Strive for the highest standard of life in every field of human endeavor. By worldly standards, according to perceptions, I entered this world at a disadvantage. But with the help of others, I was able to remove the prefix DIS and turn disadvantage into advantage. And believe me, it takes a village. Every friend, every mentor, every teacher, every stranger, every Sunday school class has helped me become the person I am. So as we move forward, let's keep this concept of together. Today is a very special day because I thought it'd be interesting to share my next book with you all. The 5 Educative Languages of Teaching. And for today's purposes, the 5 Educative Languages of Teaching will be describing my life, but I'm sure you can adapt them to your life or maybe even your style of mentoring and teaching, because I find that we're all in these roles, whether we're a parent, grandparent, family member, or whatever. So find the suitable methodology and environment that best fits you, and you can have more than one. The one thing that every institution I've been involved with has in common is that no one ever gave up on me. It takes a village, as we talked about earlier. It's important for educators and mentors to find something they absolutely love within each student and cultivate an effective dialogue. I have identified the following educative languages of teaching: the dreamer, the storyteller, the motivator, the truth teller, the freestyler. The dreamer for me was Mr. Harvey Phillips, known as Mr. Tuba or the Paganini of Tuba. The dreamer style of teaching makes the impossible possible by installing in young minds magical moments of believing. For example, when I grow up, I want to be a teacher, but I want to have class on the moon and give everybody a moon rock so they can always be happy about learning. Oscar Wilde put it best. Yes, I am a dreamer, for a dreamer is one who can find their way by moonlight, and their punishment is that they get to see the dawn of a new day, but for the rest of the world. So remember, the power of imagination has an infinite possibility of being real when infused with wonder and a dream. Mr. Phillips invented things like Tuba Christmas. And if you're wondering, October 1st, October 31st, if you're a tuba player, he invented Oktoberfest. And here, because I was part of that royalty, we even do Tuba Valentines. If you want a tuba quartet to show up and give your significant other a song like they definitely never heard before, we can do that for you. Mr. Phillip calls up Rockefeller Center. Hey, how you doing? Yeah, this weekend I would like to have hundreds of tuba players dressed in Santa suits playing Christmas carols. You have the wrong number, excuse me? Did you know you called Rockefeller Center? He said, yeah, I know, but before you say no, how about you check my references? They said, okay. So they called the likes of Leonard Bernstein and others. Next, Mr. Phillips' phone ring the next day. Ring, ring, ring. Hello, this is Rockefeller Center, Mr. Phillips. We checked your references. You can have anything you want. When would you like Rockefeller Center? Thus was born Tuba Christmas. Thank you, Mr. Phillips, for installing in me the concept of the dreamer. Mr. Richard Burns, my very first music teacher. The storyteller style of teaching takes the sharing of life experience to assimilate information, reinforcing or developing foundational knowledge of people, places, and things in an effort to establish relatability. The storyteller values human characteristics above all and has an empathic approach in how they communicate with learners. There is a belief that relatability has the greatest benefit. In the words of Laura Holloway, storytelling offers us the opportunity to talk with your audience, not at them. I would simply add to this, behind every successful person is a story that gave them no other choice but to shine. Mr. Burns taught me things about Canadian brass, Mr. Harvey Phillips, who later in life I had to go look up. And I want to just do something fun. I think this crowd is of my age or greater, so we should be able to relate to this, and then I'm really going to feel at home. So by a show of hands, this is going to get a little interesting here. Raise your hand if you know or used to use something called an encyclopedia. Oh, okay. See, I knew I was going to feel home here. See, this is awesome. Okay, let's carry it a little farther. Now, this one, raise your hand if you used or remember something called the card catalog and Dewey Decimal System. Oh, man. All right. Okay, how about LP, record players? Oh, man, I might have to join this congregation. Okay, and how about, just because I'm a musician, I couldn't leave this one out. How about cassette tapes? Oh, wow. So let me just say, the kids today have no idea how lucky they are to just hit enter and Google will do all of that for you, right? Thank you to Mr. Burns for having me understand the power of storytelling and making those long walks to the middle of the class, to the dictionary, long walks to the encyclopedia, because I remember all of it and it truly inspired me. The motivator, Mr. Daniel Perantoni, my college teacher. The motivator style of teaching can be described as cheerleading. Go shorty, it's your birthday, get busy, you can do it. This educator has the ability to have like the Rocky theme playing over and over in your head. Den 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 den, because they make you feel like you are a champion. The motivating education helps you understand that your thoughts become words, your words become actions, and your actions become habits, and your habits become automatic because you are a winner. Mr. P would often say, "Hey, Richard, how'd the audition go?" "Yeah, I think it went okay." "Okay? Okay, you didn't win." "No, I didn't win." Let me hear it." Then I'll play for him and he'll go, "That's pretty good, son, but you don't own it." The point Mr. P, the motivator, was making is, don't lower your expectations to meet your performance, but raise your level of performance to meet your expectations. Expect the best of yourself and then do what is necessary to make it a reality. Gotta give credit to Ralph Morris for that quote. The true teller, David Federley, probably my favorite one. I would like to segue a little bit because I think this will resonate and it's in tune with what you're doing here this month. And I couldn't thank Brad enough for thinking of me, inviting me here. So I thought it was appropriate to include in my talk with you today something called DEIB, diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. So too often we make DEIB a black and white issue, and it's much greater than that. It includes things such as gender, race, ethnicity, age, nationality, even disability. Sometimes what we all struggle with is stereotyping and labeling. Stereotypes influence what we encode, meaning what we notice and what we remember. For example, Richard is African American, so they are all alike, right? I bet he can really run fast. Well, I'm here to tell you that when I run, it's the same as walking. I am not fast at all. The point here is that stereotyping prevents us from seeing the differences that actually exist within people of a particular category or ethnic race because we have been influenced by societal myths. Labeling is what we attach to people that will influence how we and others see an individual. For example, I'm often referred to as Richard, the black tuba player. So you might ask the question, well, what's the problem? You are Richard and you are black. The problem is that my work title just says Richard, the Tubist. not Richard, the black tubist. And no one would ever say, hey, that's Richard, the white tuba player. Of course, if they did that with my name, it'd be pretty funny. Hey, that's Richard White, the white tuba player. The point here is that you can see the danger of influential labeling outside of proper job titles. I'll share a story with you. I'm home, my phone rings, I'm like, oh, California, who do I owe and what did I do? Pick up the phone, hello, hey, Richard, how you doing? I'm doing great, who is this? This is the agent from California. We'd like you to play on the soundtrack to the remake of The Lion King. What? Is this for real? Yes. So I call my friends in LA. Hey, Doug, hey, Jim, something amazing happened, but I just want to check in. I got a call to play The Lion King. You guys know I live in New Mexico, right? I just want to make sure I'm not taking food off your table. They went to opera rehearsal and said, what a stand-up guy. Calling us, checking in. They did their homework. Called me back and said, hey, Richard, yes, you should take the gig. I said, really? Yeah, it's a black thing. I said, it's a what? It's a black thing. I said, really? Okay. So I called the agent back and I said, I'm just curious. When did Hans Zimmerman hear me play? Oh, Hans Zimmerman never heard you play. Oh, okay, no worries. When did he see my resume? Oh, he's never seen your resume. Take my name off this list, please. My point here is that everything that I believe in has been earned, not given. I don't believe in well-intended tokenism. The level of excellence is here. It should not be lowered. What we need to do is provide the resources for people to compete at the level of excellence, but never should we lower the level of excellence. And there's a distinct difference between recognizing someone and acknowledging someone. We recognize the homeless person on the street because we see them every day. But to acknowledge them would be to stop, roll your window down and say, how are you? And it costs nothing. And you've showed this person that they exist and they matter. I hope from this you can see the value in maintaining your individual integrity and merit. The truth teller style of teaching is one that tells the student exactly what they need to hear instead of what they want to hear. It's often uncensored, frank, and at its core, a diagnostic truth entangled with a very detailed description of, here's what you need to do to get it together. In this style of teaching, the lines between teacher and student are clearly drawn, and the chain of command is firm, unwavering in terms of who makes the rules and who follows the rules. My very first lesson at PY, I sat down with David Federer. He said, how you doing? Congratulations. You made it to the conservatory. I was happy. He said, well, in 2 years, I'm going to sit you down. I'm going to tell you if I think you should continue in this profession, if I think you can make it. And I just want you to know, I ain't going to lie. Whoa. In that moment, I learned a very valuable lesson. The truth will set you free, but first it will piss you off. But then you'll be better for it. Right? The freestyle style of teaching, Ed Goldstein, my very first high school teacher. The freestyle style of teaching is a more go-with-the-flow type of attitude and environment where nothing is scripted and the primary methodology is always evolving. So we should embrace the moment, Richard, of learning. And you know what? In fact, let's cancel class. Let's just go outside, have some lemonade, absorb the sun, and talk about our collective feeling. In fact, we should do that for the next week. Yeah. And then we can talk about it. Instead of saying, Richard, hello, how are you? Ed Goldstein would often say, Richard, greetings. How's your mood today? How's my mood? What an odd thing to say. My mood is fine. So this unorthodox style of teaching reminds us that there is no one size fits all when it comes to education and learning. And we all have a responsibility to identify both traditional and non-traditional ways of communicating. A sense of tradition in addition to. We're always fighting for turf. Obviously, we got here some kind of way by tradition. Let's preserve that, respect that. But in addition to it, what are we going to add to it? Maintaining that level of excellence that we talked about earlier. I always like to give takeaways. So here's the point where if you want to jot something or email me later, put this in your takeaway box. Number one, I believe that there are thousands of problems in the world. But I truly believe that 99% of them can be solved if we were just kind to one another. So I'm encouraging everyone to leave here and exercise the act of kindness. The next one, was given to me by that motivator we talked about early, singing the Rocky song. It's called the 7 Ps. Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. I'm gonna say that one again, because you might want to remember that one. Prior proper planning prevents piss poor performance. All right, and I know you guys are gonna have a fabulous concert because I saw you in here prior proper planning, exercising this very well. So congratulations. And the next thing is really important. I believe personally that success is just as important as failing. No one is immune to failing. And my acronym for failing is finding an important lesson in needed growth. So what that means is that I failed because there was something I needed to know that I didn't know, that I now know, that I can elevate myself now. I think it's very important. So I grew up in a very conservatory-like system. So you had a hierarchy of things you wanted to do. First, you had to get into college. You got into good college, you had to make the school ensembles. Then when you made the school ensembles, you had to go try to get a festival, a competition. And that meant you were really close, a couple ingredients, and you were gonna win a job. So one year I auditioned for 12 festivals. I was so excited, I'm gonna get into 12 festivals. I didn't get into any of them. I'm not saying to be this crazy about things, and they sent me 12 beautiful rejection letters. I took all those rejection letters and pasted them in my bedroom. And on the ceiling, when I woke up every morning, I saw a note that says, when you don't feel like practicing, remember these. The next year, I got into every single festival I auditioned for. And the point here is, whether it's a good day or bad day, the best part about every day is that you're not done yet. Remember that. As we all have these feelings now of burnout, or maybe even hope and optimism now that it looks like we're coming out of these things, don't be influenced by the things that society is judging us or is putting in our brains. I want everyone here today to know that it's never too late to reset, readjust, restart, and refocus as many times as you need to. It's okay to go to the point of exhaustion. What holds us back most of the time is fear. We are afraid of somebody judging us. We're afraid of what's gonna happen. And I'm saying, embrace fear, because when fear happens, what's really happening is that we don't have good emotional health. And so I want you to invest in fear and say, well, it means I'm normal. I have good emotional health when I'm fearful of something, and go to the point of exhaustion. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're gonna keep getting what you've been getting. When you reach the point of exhaustion, it's a new day, hallelujah. This is gonna be something new, and then you can elevate your status. And then there's some things that I think you can just change your perspective on. We're always talking about this side, that side. Our world is so divisive right now. And we always hear this word divisiveness, division. How about we take that negative word division and turn it into a positive word by extracting the best part of the word, in my opinion, which is vision, and have a collective vision of excellence. It's even in the word. Amazing, right? And last but not least, we have this attitude of making excuses, or because of what happened to you, we lean on the past and it stifles us. Don't be a prisoner of your past, but be a pioneer of your future, paving the way for a better tomorrow for all. Last but not least, and this one I just added because it was amazing, and I just talked about fear. I said to you, it's okay to be fearful, and explained by Olympic skater Eileen Gu. Fear is really an umbrella term for 3 distinct sensations: excitement, uncertainty, and pressure. Remember, diamonds are made from heat and pressure, so go get your shine on. Imagine if Dr. Martin Luther King never had a dream, psychology supreme. Imagine if Richard Antoine White went out of sight and wasn't here today to ignite and inspire hope, because now is the time for educators to get it right. Imagine if we never made it to the moon and our scientific exploration was gone too soon. Imagine if we lived in a world where our best was less and less. Now is the time for us to be better than all the rest. Imagine if the person to your left and the person to your right exploded like dynamite in an effort to make everything all right. Imagine if you, me, and the rest of the universe could rehearse and create a symphony of polyphony, singing the praises of one another for whatever, whenever, to a perfect song that eliminates all wrong. Imagine a world where we are blind to things that are so unkind. So my message to you today is to rewind, unwind, and redefine. The time is now to turn that frown upside down, making it so contagious that our new normalcy is so outrageous that it is void of any fallacy. Thank you, Barrett Allingbo and FebFest. May we all keep believing in making a difference. So, I have two ongoing purposes. I'm often asked, what's next for you, Dr. White? I've recently had the honor of making full professor. I am the only, thank you. I am the only African-American male full professor in the country. And just not to dispel credit, there is one female at Penn State. My name is Richard White. You know what her name is? Velvet Brown. How cool is that? So, I want to talk about two things that I didn't talk here. One, the proceeds to my book will go towards something called the Raw Tuba Ranch. And so initially the Raw Tuba Ranch was just an idea fellowship for me, where you could come to the Raw Tuba Ranch, which is going to be in Los Ranchos in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where it would be a stage, and my friends could come and have ramen noodle, chili, and beer 24/7. So I've been going around preaching this and saying it. The city of Albuquerque got wind of it. We think this is a great idea. They acknowledged, they gave me a day, Richard White, Raw Tuba Day, acknowledged me and said, but we want to meet with you because we think you need to know some things. I was like, what do I need to know? Well, you know, you got to have a permit if you're going to serve beer. Oh, I do? And there are noise ordinance that you have to have. I can't just play on my own stage? No, sir. And if people are going to eat and drink, you got to have a permit for them to stay. So the city is helping me. And the Raw Tuba Ranch will exist. I'm starting to get donations. There's a foundation. So I hope to see all of you at the Raw Tuba Ranch. And now, in addition to a stage, ramen noodle, chili, and beer 24/7, there will be a music school and art program, much like Hummingbird. So I hope to see all of you there. Yes. And the other thing is just to give people a better knowledge of the tuba. So we're going to have a little quick jam session here, and then we'll have some question and answer. Oftentimes I play, and people are like, I didn't know tuba could do that. I just played at a Jewish synagogue in Florida, and I had to spend 20 minutes telling people that this was not the special tuba because they were so enamored by the tuba playing. Normally, you all probably think of tuba, and it's okay. That's what you think of tuba, right? And that's what Trevor Noah thought of tuba. And boy, I gotta share this story because he said, oh my goodness, you play the thing that wraps around, what is that? And I said, it's the sousaphone. Oh, the tuba that you wear? And then he so cleverly said, oh man, I'm so sorry. You actually have to wear the shame. And I thought, I wish I was quick enough to say, oh, wear the fame. Right? I was just a little slow, but I wish I could have said that, right? So the tuba, just sound. It can play melodic, like Tubby Tuba always wanted to play the melody, right? Sorry. Got to think about what I'm going to play before I start playing. Okay, and so a few things that I do with the tuba that makes it really cool, aside from that beautiful sound, I do something called multiphonics, which is singing and playing the tuba at the same time. And then what really makes the tuba so cool, aside from it being the youngest brass instrument in the family, 1835, Our first concerto will not be 100 years old until 2052. That's how young this instrument is that I can beatbox. It comes equipped with its own percussion section. Sorry, let me move this. And so we're gonna need a little participation from you, and I know you can do it because I heard you earlier. So you're gonna hear a little intro because this is the theme song to the movie Raw Tuba. If you go looking for the documentary Raw Tuba, you're probably not gonna find it. It's on Magnolia, but instead of Raw Tuba, it's called Hi, I'm Richard Antoine White. So just a note. So you're gonna hear boom. Oh, and everybody knows we clap on 2 and 4. If you clap on 1 and 3, I'm gonna have to ask you to step out into the hall. Okay, so here, boom, 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 boom. Oh, excellent. And it doesn't change. Then the melody comes in, boom, ba-ba-doom, dum, beam, boom, ba-ba-doom, beam, beam, boom, ba-ba-doom, bum, beam, boom. Okay, and if you get lost and you're like, I don't know, just listen to the beatbox. Here is the time now where you get to ask me any questions you want, like perhaps where I get my hair done, anything. So if you're wondering about anything, if you've read my book or you have questions about life or whatever, it's my time with you so that we can have a moment of fellowship.
Well, since you're in New Mexico, I have to ask, do you ever get asked to play with mariachi band?
I do, and it's becoming more popular. This is story time. So if you search the news, about, I think, 3 years ago, $60,000 of tubas was stolen from my locked office. And so not only mariachi, but banda music is so popular in America and in Mexico right now, people are stealing tubas to play banda and mariachi. We're always trying to keep up with the times. Our education department at UNM is fighting hardcore to establish a mariachi program right now. We're in meetings. Some of us are for it, some of us not. We got a lot of things we need to pay for, but considering that we're in New Mexico, we feel like we need to be part of the community. So I'm 90% sure it's coming. So the answer is yes, and I would play that with my sousaphone that I didn't bring today. Yeah. Yes?
How old were you when you first picked up a tuba and realized it was something you wanted?
Oh, that's a great question. How old was I when I first picked up the tuba and realized something I wanted? I think when I'm asked this question, I think it's a two-way street. I think I met the tuba in the middle, and the tuba met me in the middle. I started on trumpet in 4th grade. I told my friend, hey, Dante, let's play the trumpet, man. It's gotta be easy, you only got 3 valves. Boy, was I wrong. So about 6th grade, I was like, nah, this trumpet thing ain't working out. I'm number what? Number 18? And it's still about 15 tuba players after me? Nah. So I saw the tuba player sitting in this Frankenstein chair in his sousaphone. I said, I want to play that. I don't know what that is, but it's only one, so I want to play that. I switched to the tuba and never looked back. There are some funny moments you're going to read in the book. I don't want to give too much away, but I showed up at the School for the Arts with crutches, the bell of the sousaphone on my head, wearing the other half of the sousaphone, knocking on the door. I need to audition. No one answers. One door just happens to be open. The director just happened to be there on a Saturday because he forgot one of his scores. He said, can I help you? What are you doing here? I said, I came to audition. He said, what? Auditions was yesterday. I looked him straight in the eyes and said, but I'm here now. He said, the audacity made him give me an audition. I got in, and the rest is history. To give you stats, on an audition day, they will hear 600 kids. From that 600, they will accept 35. That's how amazing it is for me to have done that. And later on, just because I said trumpet If you've watched the Super Bowl, the trumpet player is Dante Winslow. He's arranged and organized the last 2 Super Bowls. It's my best friend. And we have weird moments. He just called me and said, hey man, Sony Studios called. Can you play this song, Get Low? It's a country song. I'm like, if you can write it out, I can play it. So we just recorded a song. But the moment I want to share with you, and in the book you can start when you read it, is we're in school. This is the raw tuba line. Dante says, man, what'd you get on math test? I was all proud. I said, I got a 72. He said, what? I got a 98. You got to do better, man. You need to study. I looked at Dante. I said, Dante, come in. Come in. He said, what? I said, look, let me tell you something, man. When we graduate and we walk across the stage, you walk across the stage, I walk across the stage, guess what? Your degree gonna say the same thing as mine. He bust out laughing and said, oh my gosh, Richard was actually right. From that moment on, I started practicing and I became a better trumpet player. So the point here is that we should not judge people and never judge a book by its cover. I'm grateful to Dante in the jazz world, me in the classical world. We're still best of friends because you know why? We focus on our commonality, not on our differences. Great question. Long, but thank you for me. Any other questions? Yes.
How many tuba majors are there at UNM?
Oh, right now I have a problem and I'm sad. I think between Monday and Saturday, right now, I will hear 23 tubists auditioning. Something is happening. It is the destination to come if you are Latino or African American. Everyone's saying go study with Richard. I've always had a good recruiting track record at UNM. I just came off sabbatical. I had 14 when I left. Now because of COVID and everything, there's 8. And I'm sad because I'm gonna have to tell a lot of people we can't take you. It's gonna be a tough next 2 weeks for me. And I've never had this problem like this. Because then some of these people are calling me and talking to me. And Brad, you may get a phone call. How do I deal with this, right? Like the extras, the interviews or whatever, because this is the first time where I think it's not gonna be all about talent. I'm really gonna have to take potential into consideration because there's so many people. And so I'm changing the way I audition and think, but usually we have anywhere between 12 and 18 tubas and euphonium at UNM. If you don't know what euphonium is, it's the baby tuba. Great question. Yes?
Somebody from who's watching virtually from CoroLux asked, what is your teaching schedule like?
It's crazy. Yeah. Like my life is great. I know I probably frustrated Brad a little bit. I have gotten to the point where I just send people my schedule because I'll say, I can't do it. Well, if you can find a place where I can do it, I'll show up. So my teaching schedule usually starts at 10. I'm at school between 10 to 6, and now it's 3 days a week, but on the other days, I'm either somewhere recruiting, teaching, or now teaching virtually. And so this has become a phenomenon, and the idea of charging people virtually has not sunk into my head yet. So I give a lot of preview lessons. So my teaching schedule is ongoing. And now I often teach outside of music because my title is shifting, tuba player and motivational speaker. You know, and today I was happy because I jotted out this. I knew what the event was, but it's gonna elevate into something different because I'm pretty sure at my next gig, there will be no iPad. I've reached a point where I can storytell, but I don't wanna talk at people. I don't want to scream at people because I see that motivation. So I'm trying to develop my own style just as my students. So my teaching schedule is ongoing. The challenges that my students are facing today are pretty intense. So, Dr. White, I can't do it. I give them a concerto. I can't do it. This is too much. I heard they pay 6 figures for Trashman in New York. I think I'm looking to move into New York. So I'll use techniques such as play the first note. Go play the first note. Now, okay. I say play the last note. They play the last note, like, look, we got the beginning and the end. All we got to do is get the middle. And they go, I never thought about it like that. Teaching is my greatest joy. Thank you. Yes.
Do you play in any ensembles or lead any ensembles?
Oh, do I play in any ensembles or lead? Absolutely. I am the principal tuba player of your Santa Fe Symphony. I'm the principal tuba player of your New Mexico Philharmonic. Because of all the stuff right now, they was gracious enough to give me a 1-year leave. So I am on leave right now from both symphonies, but I will be returning. My performance schedule is intense as ever. And I play in, if there's an ethnic orchestra, I'll be going to proms, BBC, in the UK, because I'm playing with Chiniki Orchestra, which is primarily African American. I'm playing with Sphinx Orchestra. We're going on tour in Washington, D.C., January of next year, which is all African American and Latin. And I was supposed to be in Carnegie Hall in just a few weeks, playing with the Gateways, which is all African American. But unfortunately, I got overlapping speaking gigs that I have to do, so I will not be in Carnegie Hall. But I play with all those organizations in addition to the organizations that I'm principal tubist here.
When do you have time to practice?
Oh, when do I have time to practice? I make use of 0 hours, which means 6 a.m., I'm practicing. 10 p.m., I'm practicing. Nothing usually happens in my life during those times. And I'm shooting myself, today I had a non-response when I was playing because I didn't get up at 6 a.m. because I did 3 talks yesterday. And so I said, I'll sleep in. But I make use of what I call 0 hours. And that means I just get it done during those hours that I wouldn't be doing anything else. So, and I still practice probably 2.5 hours, no matter what. If I have something coming up or I'm practicing, it's still 3 to 5 hours. I don't know how to do it any other way. And I could play the Vaughan Williams, I've played 100 of times, but I approach it like it's a new day. Like, what can I learn from it? And my effort for that, I'll have a moment of transparency with you. If it was really up to me, and please don't laugh at me too hard, I would just take my Nintendo Switch, my video game, sit on the couch, eat donuts and potato chips all day, and I'd be really happy, right? But I don't want to let you down. I don't want to let me down. I don't want to let the universe down or deprive the universe of the best version of me. So I get up every day and do the best I can because I want the universe to experience the best version of me. If you get up every day, do the best you can, you get up every day, do the best you can, collectively and cumulatively, that has to equal something magnificent. And I will never change that belief. So I'm looking for all of us to be magnificent together. Yes.
You practice 2.5 hours anytime during the day. What do your neighbors think of that?
Everyone loves the tuba, actually. And so the thing that I practice, when I say 2.5 hours a day, believe that I can read music. I know how it goes. So what I actually practice for 1.5 hours is fundamentals. And then I'm just visiting whatever I have to play to make sure. And in this day and age, if you go to a rehearsal and you haven't listened to a recording, you're in trouble. And people say, oh, well, why is that? Because every mistake that I could potentially make in rehearsal, I make in my practice session by playing along with the recording. That's been my secret forever. So, but tell you, yep, I did that. Glad I looked at it this weekend. So I think the 7 Ps that I talked about earlier is really important. And I think the most thing I would like to attach to that question is never forget what got you good in the first place. And for me, it was fundamentals. And the word fun exists in fundamentals. Yes.
Commission pieces for tuba.
Commission?
Are there commissions?
Yes, all the time. If you go to my YouTube channel, you'll see some commissions. They come in. I can't even accept them all. I tend to play the pieces that I think people won't play because it's so high. We did a piece, if you go look, Cardoso, Concerto for Saxophone and Tuba. We did it live at UNM. It has a treble clef, soprano D. When our professor, rest in peace, Eric Rumbach-Hindle, one of our professors at UNM, asked me to play it, I was like, that note's not on the tuba, man. What are you saying? I started practicing my scales, fundamentals, adding a half step every week or every 2 weeks. Then I could do it. I encourage you. It would take me another 2 weeks to get up to the D. But the good news is you can look Luis Cardoso, Concertino for Saxophone and Tuba on the internet. Listen to the second movement. You're going to be like, is he singing?
Yeah.
I'm not singing. I'm actually playing the tuba in the second movement.
So how do you prepare them for a commissioned piece, a new piece that you
So when you get a commissioned piece that's never been played, you start with fundamentals. You put the music on your stand. And I start with sight singing and a metronome. I start singing it first. I start the rhythm first because it's too hard. So I think Maurice Andres put it best. The stuff I play, I try to do my homework and get it right the first time because it's too hard to do a second time. And I think the same way. I try to do all the preparation so that when I do have to play it, it's as easy as it can be. And then sometimes I have a funny saying, if I'm nervous and I'm traveling the state, I'm like, oh, this might not go well, whatever. I talk to myself and I'm having a moment of transparency. I say, well, I have a home if this don't go well, I never had to come back to this state. So, right? So that's the way I give myself a little hug. Right, like, woo, exactly. Yes.
I'm sorry, I wanted you to repeat what you said about playing with recordings. I didn't really understand how you use that.
Yeah, so if I'm playing Mahler 5, for example, I'll go and look at New Yorkville, San Francisco recordings of Mahler 5. I'll press play with my music in front of me, and I'll play for it from beginning to end. If there's a rest, I'll go, I don't know how that goes. Let me put the oboe part in here. I play with it. Probably if it's a classic concert for NM before that first rehearsal, I've probably played through the entire Mahler 5 10 or 15 times. So every mistake that I would make in that first rehearsal, I don't make, because I made them in my playthrough. Does that make sense? And here's something I'm asked all the time that I want to share with this community. So, how often do you think about being the only black person in the orchestra? And when you're playing a Mahler symphony, I was like, I can assure you that I've never sat down to play a Mahler symphony and thought, wow, I'm the only brother on stage. Never. And what I say to those people is, time out. You realize that we all choose from the same set of notes, right? There's not a set of notes for Richard, the black tuba player, or my white colleague who's playing bass. We all choose from the same set of notes. The difference is what we each put into it to produce a product collectively. So, I mean, it's a silly question, right? Any other questions? Yes.
So you wrote a book, and you're also like one of the best tuba players in the whole world. There's a little conflict there, but you found this way to, you wanted to write a book instead of just talk. So what motivated you to write a book and do the talk?
The time was now. I think our world is in search of hope. More than ever, we need hope. So it was the timing to write my book. I thought it would be one and done. I'm meeting with people every day. There will be a picture book. My hope is to remake Tubby the Tuba, Raw Tuba, Tubby the Tuba, explaining diversity through the instrument families of the orchestra. My next book will be a picture book followed by the 5 educative languages of teaching, which you got a little preview today. I am an author. It's happening, and I'm on APB Speaking Network. So, and my primary goal is to inspire hope. I think our world needs it. I think we're underestimating words like kindness, passion, and hope. I want them to not be such fluffy buzzwords, but heartfelt buzzwords. You know, that when you love something, everything is okay. And I want everyone to love the idea of hope so that we can elevate our country and our individuality. So that's why I speak, that's why I'm an author. So I don't know what the 4th book's gonna be.
Did the book come out of speaking? Like, did you just transcribe your speeches?
Oh no, the book is my life from A to Z. So what you heard today, and if you watch the documentary, it's probably 10% of my life. The book is literally A to Z up until when I wrote it. I am vulnerable to capacity, as my students would say. Dr. White, I'm at capacity. Right? My vulnerability is at capacity, nothing to hide. And I'm encouraging everyone to buy a copy. I'll be out there signing them in just a little bit. But yeah, the book came out of just me feeling like it was time to express my life. You've been awesome. Thank you for this time. Thank you.